Well, welcome fantasy sports fans, hopefully thirsty fantasy sports fans. You have reached 7 p.m. Eastern on the Legend Sports Network, found at LennyMelnickFantasySports.com. I am Johnny Danger. With me is Chris Emmerich. We are Draft for Upside, the first hour boys. How you doing, Chris?
I'm feeling all right. Just, traveling these streets, trying to get home. There was an accident, so my reception may not be that great, but I am back into the civilization part of where I live. So it should be a little bit better than it was before the start of the show.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Well, hopefully you don't have a beer in your hand. Hopefully.
I'm living reckless. I've got a bourbon in my hand right now. I've downed half the bottle. None of that's true, but it will be true maybe in like 20 minutes or so.
I like it. Well, I got us covered, buddy. I got a tasty beer. Let's see if I can get a nice sound action here. All right. Well, you get the idea. It wasn't a spectacular hiss, but there it was.
No. It's like getting some fireworks pre the laws changing. That's kind of what that was. It's all right. Yeah, it's all right when you're like 5, but when you get to 7, you want the big boom.
That's no good. Well, the beer is good, even though the hiss was not. I've got a Founders Mothership Series Cerise. So it's pretty good stuff. I don't know. Have you ever had a Cerise from Founders? The cherry wheat beer? Belgian-y?
Yes. A long time ago, not a fan.
Yeah. It's been a long time since I had it. It's 5.7%. And, it's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not really a big cherry guy unless they're sour cherries or chocolate cherries. There's a couple types of cherries I like, but those are, when it comes to beers, those are the cherries that I like. Chocolate and sour.
Yeah. That's all right. It's good. It's a little creamy. It's not the cough syrup cherry that you fear every time you pick up a beer that says it has cherry in it. It's quite tasty.
Okay.
I encourage you to try it again.
Not sure that I will, but if I find myself in a situation in a hard spot, I may just.
Well, when you come up to Michigan to visit and you're living in my basement for a night or two, I'll make sure that it's the only alcoholic beverage in the house.
Way to make me not stay.
That'd be pretty sad. But yeah, man, I mean, you should take a long weekend, come up to Michigan, hang out with Adam and I. We'll go to Topgolf. We'll hit some balls around. We'll drink a shit ton of beer. And then you can go back to miserable old Florida.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about the plan being maybe in September. I don't know if it'll be over the weekend or after football. I don't know. I have something else that I think I'm doing on the weekend, so I can package. I'll be up in probably Virginia, so I figure before or after I can swing up to Michigan. So we'll see. Maybe we'll do the show live on location, and by live on location I mean some location that's live.
Yeah, we'll tie one on at the old Witch's Hat Brewing Company. Broadcast live from there.
There you go.
Be a good time. So what's up?
Did you play any lineups today? Did you get any action down?
I didn't, but you were talking about playing a little late game, so let's talk about it. Let me get in there. You said you're going to play a showdown tonight?
Well, I mean, I played some lineups in the main. I got a little crazy. I played some of these games that have some weather concerns. I'm real big on Minnesota, Milwaukee. Milwaukee really let everybody down yesterday. I've got some Mets. They were cheap. Some San Francisco. Played a lot of $4. I think I played like 10 or 15 lineups and kind of mixed it in. The amount of research I did today was very limited. I haven't been playing a lot for a variety of different reasons. So not as in tune. Did just some really, really basic research today and just decided to stick to a couple teams and go after it. But I anticipated, since you enjoy building these showdown lineups, that I reserved a showdown lineup at, let's see, what did I do?
You know, I do enjoy building that, but now that we talk about it, apparently I did reserve some lineups because I'm now getting notifications saying you didn't fill out your lineups.
It's Miami and Milwaukee, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I did also reserve some Houston, Seattle, so I got a little bit to talk about here. I think both of the games are slightly different dynamics. I think this first one, this Miami Milwaukee, I'm in the $5 knuckleball. I don't know. Like, I'm not a big fan of either of these pitchers. Alcantara is all right if he doesn't have to face lefties, but Milwaukee is one of those teams that just shoves a lot of lefties in your face. So, I wouldn't be surprised to see Milwaukee kind of try and get some revenge for yesterday, but at the same time, Miami has been pretty formidable. They've had quite a few games now where they've performed against, good pitchers in good situations. Not that Chase Anderson yesterday is a great pitcher, but, they're facing Jimmy Nelson today in his first start back, I think maybe in like a year and a half. I know he's pitched a little bit in AAA, but I can't imagine putting him in any slots, especially at the price that they have him at, because I mean, how many innings is the guy really going to throw? 4, 5, maybe 6 tops, but I don't think he gets to that.
Well, I'm going to join you here. I got a 25-cent token I'm going to use on a quarter jukebox showdown. How fun does that sound?
It sounds exciting.
Super exciting. All right, so we want to attack Mr. Nelson, you think?
I don't necessarily know if we want to attack Nelson, but I'm not sure that I really necessarily want to roster him at the price. He's, the third most expensive guy. I just don't see a lot of scenarios where he pays off that price. On the same token, I don't know if a lot of people are going to play him, because I think that they're going to have the same type of rationale, and I'm thinking it's going to be difficult to build a lineup with Yelich or Moustakas in that captain slot. I don't know. I think that I might want like a Grandal, or probably Grandal is the guy that I'm looking at in that captain slot.
Sure. I mean, riddle me this. Is JT Riddle a must-play today?
I don't think so. Why?
No?
Do you know something I don't know?
I just wanted to say riddle me this.
I got you.
That's really all. That's all I wanted. No, but if you're going to want, Yelich or Moustakas or any of those guys at the top end, you got to go deep. And JT Riddle, lefty, going up against Nelson. Like I said, I haven't looked at his splits. I don't know what Nelson throws. Maybe he's a reverse guy, but usually they're not. Riddle's basically the only lefty besides Granderson in their lineup.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, though, is that you look down there at the bottom and you got Travis Shaw, who has not been good, but at that price, he still has the pop. I venture to guess he's in a lot of builds. It's a situation where you can fade him, and you don't really gain too much by fading him if he has a bad game. But if he has one of those good games and you don't have him in your lineup, it just becomes a little bit more difficult to cash. I think.
Sure. I mean, they're at home. He's facing a righty, and as much as he sucked this year, the dude could still plow off 2 home runs in a game.
Sure, absolutely. And like I said, Alcantara has trouble with lefties.
All right. Well, you've talked me into it. Let's just put him in there. This is the quarter arcade, so. Whatever. I'm just going to slap a team together and cross my fingers that my lineup is better than 4,755 other people's lineups.
I mean, it could be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still going to put JT Riddle in it because I'm just going to. So we're going to knock that right out right now.
I want to say my favorite guy from the Marlins who's been playing really well, and I don't know much about his splits. I don't know much about his ISO. I don't have anything in front of me. I am strictly looking at game logs right now, which is kind of disgusting when you think about what I stand for. But a 370 batting average 890 OPS. One Harold Ramirez is a guy I think that you have to put in your lineup. He's cheap enough that it's not crazy, but it looks like the guy's been playing pretty decently. So he's in my lineup. And then I think you got to just attack and pick and choose the lefties that you want. Do you want to go with Yelich or do you want to go with Moustakas? I think you can put both in, but it's one of those situations too that I think if you go Moustakas and Yelich ends up being more popular, and Moustakas can certainly outscore Yelich. It just depends on what you want to look at in the rest of your lineup. I think Ben Gamel is a very interested left-handed hitter. We love the Milwaukee lefties. They've made us some money this year in the preseason. So Ben Gamel was a big part of that. So, that shaggy dude just holds a special place in my heart. So I got to roster him despite not necessarily being a plus EV situation, doing it as much as I do.
Absolutely. Let's look at a couple of stats here. Let's see what we got. Do we got anything good here? Just flipping through here. Yeah, looking at a couple of guys here. I'm going to play the late night slate too, by the way. So those are the ones I had reserved. Apparently, I was just getting a reminder. The 8:05 4-game slate, so we can talk about that too.
Yeah, you have to tell me who's on it. I mean, like I said, I did some brief overview of almost every one of the games, so I do have some takes on the pitchers. They're not going to be deep. I'm not going to talk about any type of movement or velocity or anything like that. And some of the statistics might be, 2 weeks old because that's what I remember. But we'll see. We'll see.
All right, I'm going to get our man in here, Mr. Gamel. And let's see. I've got to find a captain.
I personally went with Grandal.
I could see that.
Power lefty. I don't think he's going to be in the captain slot for a lot of people. You get a little bit of a discount over, your probably your three obvious targets being Nelson, Moustakas, and Yelich, hence their pricing. I just think that he gives you a little bit of a contrarian view, but he's definitely a guy that can hit 2 home runs, and he's also a guy that has power as a lefty and as a righty. So one of the things that I like to look at, when you're looking at guys in lineups that are switch hitters, Cleveland being an example, Lindor is just so much better as a power hitter from the left side of the plate. Ozzie Albies is an interesting from the right side, but a little bit more consistency from the left side. And the dynamic of these guys, it changes as the relievers come in and things of that sort. So if you think that the Milwaukee gets ahead, maybe the Marlins bring in a left-handed reliever. I'm not even sure if they have one that's available and how good he is. But the thing about Grandal is in that scenario, he still retains a ton of power. More so this year than he has in any other year. Previously, you wanted to avoid him from the right side of the plate.